Hello everyone. Welcome to this fantastic session on exporting. So hopefully I will give you some tips today based on our experience. We're now exporting to over 20 countries all over the world, and you know we've grown quite quickly. We've been actually in business now for over 6 years. If you cast your minds back, you could see me going up the stairs there on Dragon's Den. That was actually in August 2006. No, 2008. So 6 years since we went up there. And we're now actually Theo and Deborah's most successful investment ever on Dragon's Den, and the only investment that's ever paid them back in 9 series. But this was the product that we actually went on, and this is what we're exporting all over the world, is our portable magic whiteboard on a roll. So you get 25 A1 sheets on the roll, and then they cling to any hard flat surface using static. You write on them with any dry marker. You wipe clean, see, just erase like that. And also paper sticks to it as well, like that. Paper sticks. So we're now, you know, exporting hundreds of thousands of rolls of this all over the world to 20 countries. But it all started off when we got £100,000 investment from Deborah Meaden and Theo Pafitis from Dragon's Den. And you could see me there with Deborah and Theo. They're still involved. They're still like board members of my business. But I actually paid them back over 2 years ago. But they still own 40% of my business. So if any of you are thinking of going on Dragon's Den, I would advise you to negotiate hard and not give away 40%, because now we're actually paying substantial dividends. We're going to pay £100,000 on the 1st of June. Obviously, I have to give them £40,000 now, and they don't really do that much. So it's been a very, very good investment for them. So that's just a little tip there. Try to keep hold of as much of your business as you possibly can. But we now export to all of these countries here. Initially, we focused on like the English-speaking countries for obvious reasons, and Dragon's Den was actually shown there. And that was almost like an unintended consequence of going on the program, because I actually didn't realise they sold Dragon's Den all over the world. So when it was shown on the TV, you know, we were suddenly getting orders from Australia, New Zealand, and what it would often do would flush out distributors, so they'd get in touch with us. But the problem we faced there was, because that was like demand driven, you got a lot of time wasters contacting us, and a lot of like one-man bands who actually didn't have any distribution network in place at all. You know, they were inspired, you know, by myself and Laura, and they thought, oh, we could do a similar thing, you know, in our country. But in reality, it's actually a lot more difficult than that. You can't expect to become an instant millionaire just because it's been on Dragon's Den. So we now export to all of these countries, and over the last 2 years, we've started to become a lot more proactive. So I've been working with UKTI, based at the Chamber of Commerce in Worcester. And in hindsight, I should have started working with them 5 years ago, but because I was so busy involved in my business and growing my business, I wasn't very proactive on the exports. But you need to start thinking about that really early on. you know, you almost do it in parallel at the same time as you're getting your UK sales going as well. But because you're growing and you haven't got much time and you're often working on your own or there's just 3 of you, you tend to let it slip, or it's good to actually start those conversations with the UKTI people straight away, because they can help you, and they give you a lot of subsidy as well. So, you know, that if you ask them, they'll actually give you money as well for services. And this is me. We actually got invited to go down to Downing Street for a small business export session. This is actually in the back garden of number 10. And you could see, if you're promoting your products as well, I never miss an opportunity. So I even took this down to number 10 Downing Street. They tried to take it off me at security, but you could see me. I'm showing David Cameron there. And they've actually helped us as well, but it all started when I started working with UKTI at networking events, and then they put me forward to going to these types of events. So this is the sort of thing you have to do, and it doesn't cost you much, because I haven't got loads of money to spend on marketing, advertising, so I do these low-cost marketing activities and PR. And we managed to get these photos as well. And actually, as a result of it, David Cameron actually bought a roll the very next day. And he wrote a note saying his kids are using it. So, you know, one thing leads to another, and you've got to keep doing that. Brim Business, we obviously started with the Magic Whiteboard on a roll. But to be credible, we have to develop a range of products to export. So we now do a whole full range. So we do the whiteboard on a roll, we do the Magic Blackboard, we actually do a blackout blind, which we sell into a different market. It's the baby market. And we do erasable sticky notes, and we've started to do these jigsaw rulers now as well. So that's far more appealing, you know, to a distributor if you've got a range of products, because we can then sell a whole pallet to them. And I basically say to them, you can basically copy my web page. It's almost like giving them almost like a franchise for free, on condition that you buy the stock. So exporters, you know, importers, they have to buy one pallet to get exclusive rights for 1 year, which is about £5,000. And that just gets people started, relatively low risk. And we see how they get on. If they sell it, we just extend it. We just keep it nice and clean, nice and easy. So these are my tips for exporting here. Obviously, you could go on Dragon's Den, but that's quite a high-risk strategy, because if they don't like the product, that damages the reputation of your business, of your product. But on the plus side, it's a fantastic export strategy, because it's shown in so many places all over the world. It's recently been shown in Colombia and Mexico, and we would have never in a million years thought about exporting to those countries. So Dragon's Den is almost like a salesman in all those countries for us. So that's a bonus for us. But if you can't go on Dragon's Den, then you have to use the services that are available, and those are the UKTI services. And I can't rate them highly enough, and they haven't paid me to say this at all. If they were no good, I would say so. But the first thing to do is just go to your local Chamber of Commerce and speak to the local trade advisor there, and they can tell you all the options that are available, and they have like a one-to-one meeting with you based on the size of your business, the stage you're at in your growth cycle, and they can recommend things that are best for you. But some of the things we did, and that was actually free as well, because they like to get you started, because the government has got a big initiative at the moment. They want to get people exporting, so that brings in cash for the country. So there's something called Passport to Export, and basically you have to pay £250. You go on a training course but then that gives you access to about 6 training courses, like on how to exhibit in different countries, the pitfalls, the culture of different countries. Dan, my business manager, he's actually been on those courses. So he learnt about the etiquette of doing business, like, for example, in Finland, because some the Finnish people actually go silent in negotiations, and I actually didn't realise that. I thought, oh, that was just the end of the meeting. I thought, all right, that's it. They don't like the product, but they go very quiet, and they're just thinking. So, you know, there are these different sort of, you know, in different countries, they respond in different ways, and sometimes you think you might have offended them, and you haven't at all. It's just thinking. So you just need to do that straight away. It's only £250, and they give you far more back than you ever pay for that £250. And if you then go overseas, at the moment, if you spend £1,000 going overseas, they give you £1,000 back as well. So it's a really good deal. And I'm sure some of you have experienced the pain of trying to persuade buyers to take your products. You know, it can often be slow, frustrating. You never get through to the right person. Well, imagine doing that overseas. You've got the language barrier. You know, it's like cold calling in a foreign language. It's going to be difficult. So what the embassy do via UKTI, you can commission what we call an OMIS report, Overseas Intelligence Service. And basically what they do, they ring up like 10 companies on your behalf. And because the phone call is actually coming from the embassy, the buyer takes the call because obviously the embassy is credible, it's important. So they take the call. The person at the embassy then explains what the product is in their language. They then offer to send the product for free to them for them to use, and they warm up these people on your behalf, and then they write a really comprehensive report which has got loads of useful information in it on if they're really interested or not. So you can then go and arrange to meet with these people, you know, and we find that often leads to a deal. And we've just come back from Lithuania over here. This is Lithuania here. We went over there it was actually a UKTI education show. So they subsidised the cost of us going on their stand in Lithuania. We'd never been to Lithuania. We didn't really know where it was. We went there. That was at the beginning of December. As a result of that, we've signed a distributor that employs 999 people. They're a massive distributor in Lithuania. And as a result, they've also offered to distribute in Latvia and Estonia as well. And that was all on the back of receiving an email from UKTI saying they'll subsidise it. So I thought, let's give it a go. Let's go to Lithuania. And you think those countries are like poor, but they've got loads of money. And we're actually getting the same price that we're selling it to the trade in the UK and Lithuania as well. So don't think that there's no money about, because there is money, you know, definitely in the education sector over there. So that's obviously really positive. So we've sent like our first pallet over there now. So we'll keep monitoring that over the next year. But it's well worth it. The reports range. We've paid between £700 and £1,500. But depending on what you require, it can cost up to £5,000 if you want really detailed analysis. But really, I just want people to ring people up at the equivalent to Staples in whatever country it is and say, have you seen Magic Whiteboards? You know, and we send them the YouTube clip and they get an idea for the product. And it saves you so much time. It's just incredible. I actually don't know how they do it for the money. You know, it's a fantastic service that the government are offering there. And as we've seen here, we've got Meet the Buyer events. Yesterday we met 7 buyers from different countries: Spain, Romania, Vietnam, Dominican Republic. They're all just through there. If you haven't been to see them, they might have some spaces left. If you know, you could go and speak to the girls on the desk and see if there's an appointment. But there are buyers there from educational companies, Malaysia. So yesterday we were speaking to a principal from a school in Malaysia, but he knows all the international schools in Malaysia, so that's a really good contact to make. And hopefully we'll do a deal with the gentleman from Spain as well, because we haven't got anyone in Spain at the moment. And these are free, so you just book the appointments before the shows, you know, and they have them at all of these eye-to-eye shows, like the Spring Fair, the Autumn Fair, BET, and it's just a no-brainer. You just do it, and it's great networking. And then sign up, obviously, to Twitter, the newsletter on the UKTI stand, and they're doing an export week in a couple of weeks. So you go to those, and you meet all the international trade advisors there. And obviously they're trying to, you know, get you to take out these OMIS reports or offer you some service, but they really do a good job. I haven't found like a bad one yet in any of the countries, you know, and I just wish I'd done it earlier. But I sort of held back, thinking, oh no, you know, I know what I'm doing, you know, we're busy, but actually take their advice, because they've done it. They know all the pitfalls, and they genuinely want to help you, because they've got targets from the government to get more companies exporting. So that's it, really. We don't find it that difficult to export. You know, we always get payment in advance, and we then always ask the customer to collect the goods themselves. So we get it all ready on a pallet. We arrange all the export documentation from the Chamber of Commerce, and that's it. As soon as we've been paid, the customer just collects it and off it goes, and that's it. It's actually not that difficult. I don't know why people think it's actually that hard. It's no different to dealing with a trade customer in the UK, really. As long as you get the money, it goes.